My name is Richard Sanchez. I'll be presenting a mock action research proposal for the Fundamental Educational Research class at Ashford University. It's a 5-minute video in which I'll be doing an introduction to my action research plan or study, addressing all 9 components of the action plan. The management approach to the technology in teaching policy and decision making is underrated. How the perception of the technology is influenced by the way healthcare providers and educators use technology to be efficient and productive with the involvement in the healthcare field. I will attempt to answer my research question using online components of the action research plan by the focus statement, looking at the variables, developing the research question, an intervention, the members of the group, the negotiations, the timeline, the resources, and finally, the development, collecting the data, and the method in which I used. The purpose of this study is to describe the perception that brings healthcare providers, members, and to the interaction and relationship with using technology, and the participants' ability to identify issues and incorporating the solutions to similar problems in the healthcare field. While recent studies indicate that working together in groups will help members learn faster, according to Clyde and Deloney, the perception of technology is significant because through this study, I will attempt to change that perception. I will enhance the interaction, identifying some potential issues and incorporating it to best practices. While best practices is the desirable outcome that most of healthcare industry organizations are looking for, we also are facing variables among the groups. And one of the things that I identified was the lack of motivation, and that leads to medical errors and poor performance. While Garcia and Dominguez suggest that working collectively or together in a group, it can help modify traditional learning. I'll be able to I developed 2 questions in order for me to do the research, and I hope to answer it through this research. What is the perception of teaching with technology in the healthcare field? And the second question is, what is the perception of healthcare teachers teaching students while using the technology? Among the interventions that I'm going to be using is a 1-to-1 intervention. I'll be doing some observation, and I'll be doing focus group. Additionally to that, I'll be able to identify some themes by using colors, and finally, I'll be communicating the findings to the group. The group will be composed for the research. It's a single subject experiment applied to a small group including doctors, nurses, and respiratory therapists, a total of 35. 5 doctors, 15 nurses, 15 respiratory therapists for a total of 35. While some things have to be negotiated, I need to explain to the group the why and the how the action research is going to be conducted. The terms, I'll tell them, they're not obligated. They can leave at any time. There are some conditions, and finally, the informed consent for myself and the service line. The timeline that I'll be using is a total of about 6 weeks, and I'm going to be dividing it into 3 different groups. On the first week, I'll be explaining the process and providing them with informed consent. On the second week, I'll be doing my observations. On the third week, I'll be actually acquiring the feedback from each of them. On week number 4, I will be able to review and identify the themes of the different groups, making a categorization of the information using colors. On week number 5, I will communicate with each of the group members, and we'll have an in-depth conversation which will yield to rich data. And finally, on week number 6, I'll do a test run. The resources that we're going to be needing for this study is going to be the computers. Of course, we need to have the informed consent for myself, from each of the group members, the technology, a pen, and of course a paper. The data will be collected on a one-to-one interview through observation and to focus groups. And finally, it doesn't matter how careful leaders plan and modern learning environment initiative when much of the learning happens with trial and error, while healthcare providers often arrive at the same conclusion after using the new technology. Thank you so much. Have a great day.